Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you from the Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Today, we're diving into a topic that is absolutely fundamental to our entire business, managing capital. We're going to get our heads around how every single dollar spent in a hotel has to be seen as an investment, and, more importantly, how you can make sure it delivers a powerful return.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to break this down into 5 key areas. First up, the big one, the ROI mandate. Then, we'll get practical and look at how you actually calculate the payback on an investment. After that, we'll compare 2 totally different kinds of projects, rooms versus F&B, and then see how the owner's timeline can change the entire game. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see how this all leads to the real goal, creating wealth.
All right, let's jump right in with the golden rule. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this is the single most important principle for any hotel capital project. It is, without a doubt, the idea that governs every single decision.
Think about that for a second. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. This isn't just some friendly advice. It is a mandate. It doesn't matter what your job title is, general manager, owner's rep, you name it. You have to be able to stand in front of an investor and financially justify any and all spending. This completely shifts your mindset, right? You're not just spending money anymore. You are investing it wisely to generate a tangible return.
Okay, so if that's the why, you're probably asking, well, how? How do we actually prove that an investment is a smart move? Well, it all comes down to a really practical calculation.
The whole calculation really hinges on this one key concept, incremental revenue. All this really means is the new money a project is expected to bring in. Now that could be from higher room rates, for sure, but it could also be from cost savings, like installing a new, super energy-efficient HVAC system. Either way, it's the additional value that this investment creates out of thin air.
And the best part is, the process itself is wonderfully straightforward. It's really just 3 steps. First, you nail down the total project cost. Second, you make your best estimate for that incremental revenue gain we just talked about. And third, you do the simple math to figure out the payback period. In other words, how long is it going to take for that new profit to completely cover the initial cost?
You know, this all makes a lot more sense with an example. So let's say you're pitching a $5 million guest room renovation. Now, the goal isn't just to have prettier rooms, is it? It's to be able to charge a higher price. So if you can confidently project that this refresh will let the hotel bump its average daily rate, or ADR, by $20, boom, you've got it. That's the key number you need to calculate exactly how many room nights it'll take to pay back that entire $5 million investment.
But here's where things get a little more strategic. Not all investments are created equal, not by a long shot. The moment we start applying this ROI lens to different areas of the hotel, we start to see these wildly different profiles for risk and reward. So let's look at a classic comparison, rooms versus food and beverage.
This is really where the strategic thinking kicks in. On the one hand, a guest room refresh is often the safer bet. Its ROI is tied to predictable things like ADR. But then you have a brand new restaurant concept. Wow, that could generate massive top-line revenue. That's the total cash coming in the door. But here's the risk. The super high labor and food costs can just eat away at all that revenue, leaving you with a much smaller bottom-line profit. And that's what makes F&B that classic higher risk, but also potentially higher reward proposition.
Now, we have to add one more critical layer to our analysis. The math for ROI is absolutely essential, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It has to be filtered through the owner's own strategic timeline for the hotel.
And this might just be the single most important strategic question you can ever ask. Before you recommend any big project, you have to understand the owner's exit strategy. I mean, are they planning to hold on to this hotel for the next 10 years, or are they looking to sell it in 2? The answer to that question completely changes the game.
Let me show you how this plays out in the real world. For an owner who has a short-term plan to sell, proposing a huge project with a 10-year payback makes 0 sense. They're going to be focused on what we call cosmetic capex, smaller, visual projects that boost curb appeal for a potential buyer. But on the flip side, a long-term owner is way more likely to invest in something with a longer payback period, like that high-efficiency equipment that's going to save them a ton of money on utility bills for the next decade.
Okay, so this brings us to our final and honestly our most important point. We've talked about the rules, we've talked about the calculations, the strategy, but why are we doing all this work? What's the ultimate purpose here?
And here it is. This is the key takeaway. ROI analysis isn't just some boring accounting exercise. It is the engine that transforms capital into a powerful, strategic tool for creating wealth. It is the one thing that separates simply spending money to make a hotel look nice from investing money to make the asset fundamentally more valuable and more profitable.
So, as you move forward in your careers, this is the one question I want you to always keep in your mind. Ask yourself, is this an expense or is it an investment? Because the moment you start viewing every single dollar through the lens of ROI, you elevate your role from just being a manager to being a true strategic partner in building real value. Thank you for joining me today.